Forgot to even mention that. Welcome to today's live stream. Today we're going to be talking about the No BS guide on how your team can study for the SAT math section either by themselves, wherever they want to go, doesn't matter. Okay, so if you guys are tired of all these BS strategies on tips, shortcuts, hacks and things like that on how your team can study for SAT math, then hey, this is the live stream for you guys today. Okay, listen, guys, it's not just about fancy strategies, fancy shortcuts. It's about actually working smarter, not harder. Okay, so let's dive into the 5 steps to help crush the SAT math section and then boost your team's score. Okay, so then let's talk about it again. The No BS guide on how your team can study for SAT math. Okay, the first things first, what we want to do right now is we want to start with a diagnostic. That's the first thing you should do. Okay, knowing where to begin is half the battle. So a complete diagnostic, it identifies strengths and weaknesses. So every study session is focused and productive. Okay, we actually have a free diagnostic exam in our group. You can just go in the guide section. It's guide 1.5, your math diagnostic session. It will tell you down to the subtopic whatever you need help on in the SAT math, what your team needs help on the SAT math, right? Because that's like trying to fill up a bicycle tire that already has holes in it, right? No matter how much air you're gonna keep putting into it, the air is just going to keep escaping out of that hole. So we need to plug those holes. We need to figure out where are those holes to begin with, so we can plug them up and then, keep on going with it, and then keep on filling it up with air, right? So that it can finally expand. Okay. Now, the second thing that you want to do is you want to target your weak areas. Okay. So we don't want you guys wasting time on whatever it is that you already know how to do. Okay. Because if you do that, it's going to give you a very false sense of security. You're not going to want to, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to focus on your weaknesses. You're going to be like, oh, I did all these problems, right? And I go into the test and I'm like, oh, I had never seen these problems before, because you only focus on the stuff that you were strong in. So it made you think you were prepared, but you actually weren't, because you weren't focusing on the stuff that it was actually challenging for you. Okay. So focus on your challenging topics the most. Okay. So you want to make sure that that's why it's so important to do that diagnostic, because if you don't do the diagnostic, you're not going to be able to target your weak areas. Okay. The third thing that you want to do, it kind of ties in with number 2 and number 1, right? Like I said, it's a very linear strategy, right? Is to use real SAT problems and get consistent feedback from experts or from peers. Okay. Practice makes perfect, but only if it's relevant. Okay, so if you got to do real SAT math problems so that they're actually ready for the test. You know what I'm saying? Now, the more you actually practice the real problems, of course, the easier it is going to be for when your team actually takes the test. Okay, so a few ways to do this. If you don't want, you can obviously, right, if you get consistent feedback from a coach or from a program, then obviously, that they got to have things in place in terms of that. They need to have their own practice problems that they can give you. They got to have your own coaches that they can actually give you feedback outside of class when you're turning in work and things like that, so that you know exactly what you need help on, right? But let's say if you're doing it on your own, you want to make sure that you use the SAT problem bank on the College Board. Or you can use Khan Academy, of course, right? But those are bang for buck, right? Free. Those are the best free resources that you want to use so that you get acquainted with the types of problems that you're going to be in. Okay. And if you already know what you're weakest on, right? And you already know what type of level that you need to be working at from your diagnostics, then hey, you're going to be able to use these pretty well. Okay. The fourth thing that you want to do is you want to learn how to simulate test conditions. Okay, practicing under real test conditions helps reduce anxiety and helps build that confidence. Okay, so you want to make sure that your team is not just conceptually prepared, but they are mentally prepared for the exam as well. That includes test anxiety, time management, right, and handling test day pressures, right. Now, if you want to do this on your own, I actually did a training on this on how to simulate the SAT environment at home. You can look for it in the guide section, right? But you want to make sure that you're using the Blue Book app, because it's literally pound for pound the best thing out there. Use the Blue Book app so that you practice doing these exams on your own. Use the Blue Book app, and then most importantly, use the Blue Book app, and most importantly, right, practice the Blue Book app in a test-like environment. Okay. And again, there's a training on that in my guide section as well. Okay. Now, the last thing that you want to do is join a winning environment. Okay, that's the last thing you want to do. That's the most underrated thing. Join a winning environment with people who have the same mindset and goals as your team. And most importantly, that you need to join an environment where the people who are guiding you have already been where you were. Okay, studying alone can be very tough. Okay, sometimes if you're studying by yourself, right, when you hit that valley, it's very hard to get out of it by yourself because you're going to keep telling yourself like, I can't do this, I can't do this, right? But if you're part of a community with continuous feedback and motivated peers, it can help you keep your team keep on being engaged. You can help them keep on being enthusiastic about learning. Okay, because if you see someone else with the same exact struggles as you, if you see them succeeding, then of course that means that you're going to be able to succeed as well, right? And those peers and that coaching is going to be able to help pull you out of those lulls and help you pull you out of those valleys, so you're not there by yourself all the time. Okay, every person should have a coach, not just for your team, but every single person should have a coach on their own. Okay, now that's the 5-step method on the No BS guide on how your team can study for the SAT math section. Let's talk about how the Math Guru method can help your team excel. Okay, the first thing that we do here is we discover and we enhance. Okay, so we start with a complete diagnostic to identify your team's strengths and your weaknesses, making sure that every time they step foot into a session, it is for efficient learning. Okay, you'll know exactly what you need to work on outside, and most importantly, you're not going to be working too much on your strengths. Okay. Second thing is we apply and we practice. So using real SAT math problems, we want to provide you laser targeted practice and feedback, making sure that learning is relevant to you, it's engaging, and it's effective. Okay. Last thing we do here is we simulate success. All right. Regular test simulations prepare your team both academically and mentally, reducing anxiety and building that confidence. Okay. So guys, why would you stick with unorganized study methods that waste your team's time and effort? Okay, the Math Guru method offers targeted, efficient learning, helping them gain admission to their dream colleges or qualify for scholarships without the stress and burnout of traditional prep. Okay, so if you guys are ready to conquer the SAT with confidence and ease, please make sure you go to either send me a DM or you book a call with me in my banner above. You can DM me now to learn how the Math Guru method can unlock your team's full potential. Let's turn those struggles into triumphs, and most importantly, let's make those 100+ point improvements a reality together. Thanks a lot for your time, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next one.